Press record. That's always a good start. And we'll share as well. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Are you in yet?
All right.
Are you in yet?
Yeah, no problem. Español básico, lesson 16. Right, there we go. So I've got a bit of a new system today. The old laptop, it was slowing up a bit, and we were getting quite a bit of feedback, so and crackling last week. So I decided to get to use the PC in the
I'll be back by
desktop.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll give you an hour and a half.
And I'm just going to mute somebody.
Something's happened to Mark. Can everybody see properly? I've got a funny graphic.
Got a funny graphic, have you?
Yeah, I don't know what's happened.
I can see you perfectly well.
Right,
Can you not see the PowerPoint?
No, I'm getting heading a leader in the 2020 Gartner Map. I went to mute and it I don't know what's happened.
Well, you've not muted.
Join Eric.
Okay, yeah, all right. So hopefully the sound quality will be a little bit better, and the picture quality will be a little better. I can move around now without the screen going all blurred. So there we go. Hopefully that will do the trick. So let's get cracking, should we? Buenos días, señoras y señores. Bienvenidos a la lección 16 de la clase de español. La semana pasada fuimos a comprar comida y comestibles. Esta semana vamos a comprar ropa. So last week we were shopping for food and groceries, and this week we're going to go clothes shopping, which is probably more useful for us. One of the pleasures of holidays abroad, remember those, was going out buying clothes and the odd souvenir, going to the local market. Somehow I always managed to forget my sun hat and have to buy another one from a local store or the market. I ended up with quite a selection of sun hats over the years. I gave you a list of clothes to learn, so hopefully we've got all those in our heads. And there was also a multiple choice quiz in the Spanish classroom. I know some people have had difficulty logging on to that. Some people have been onto it without any trouble at all. So I'm not quite sure what happens there. It's sort of maybe the link between Google and the Google Classrooms that's causing the difficulties. I don't know. Maybe if you try again, it'll work. But it's not essential. I've put the link on as a bit of an extra resource for people who want to use it. And obviously you could join if you want to, and you can leave anytime you like. So a few questions you might want to ask when you get to a hotel or ask somebody in town. The first one, just for me, ¿Dónde puedo ir a comprar un sombrero? Where can I go to buy a hat? ¿Hay un mercado aquí? Is there a market here? And there generally is. Even the smallest villages in Spain seem to have a market once a week. So, si hay un mercado todos los martes, there's a market every Tuesday. You may want to ask, ¿Qué día es el mercado? El mercado es los martes y sábados. The market is on Tuesdays and Saturdays. So make sure you know your days of the week. I know it takes a little while to sink in, but it does sink in eventually. And don't forget the Spanish. Don't say my clothes. This is just one of those oddities of Spanish. There are a few. It's always the clothes. They assume that if you're talking about the clothes, that you're talking about your clothes, unless you specify it's somebody else's. So never say mi ropa, it's always la ropa. And clothes is already plural, so you don't need to say las ropas for clothes. La ropa, it's already plural, even though it behaves as a singular noun. There are a few examples of that in English, aren't they? Think about people, the people. We talk about the people. We talk about what else? The sheep. I mean, it could be one sheep, or it could be a whole flock of sheep in that case. But it behaves as a plural, even though it's looks singular. And if you want to talk about somebody else's clothes, you could say la ropa, my clothes, for example, la ropa del Eric, la ropa de la Julia, Julia's clothes, la ropa de ella, her clothes, la ropa de los niños, the children's clothes, or children's clothes. Often when you're talking about names in Spanish, when you're talking about somebody, you would say the. So you'd say the Amanda, the Ian, the Paul, the Apple. Spanish people sometimes do that when they're talking English. Does this belong to the Eric? They might say. It takes the definite article. People's names often take the definite article, depending on the sentence. So you'd say, are these the clothes of the Eric? For example, if you're asking a question or stating a fact, the clothes of Eric. Eric's clothes, you would say the clothes of the Eric. It sounds weird, and it's not something. It sounds weird in English ears. It's not something you need to worry about. You'll hear people say it, and you'll register it. If you don't say it, it doesn't really matter. They'll still understand you, but you get used to it when you hear it. When I've been in Spain with my in-laws, or in Ecuador with my in-laws, they always call me the Eric, and they call each other the Julia, the Lucy. It's just a figure of speech, I guess. So not something to worry about, and you'll soon pick it up if you're in a Spanish-speaking country. So first thing I'm going to do is just run through the list of clothes and see how well it's all sunk in. And I'm going to go to the bottom of the pile, so we'll see who's down at the bottom. We've got Linda down the bottom. So Linda Broughton, would you be able to tell us what these various things are, please? Yeah.
So it's the dress, the hat, the scarf. Right, then the next two I don't know, but then there's swimming costume.
Yeah.
A swimsuit.
Yeah.
a bikini.
Yeah,
A
that's an
something,
easy one, isn't it?
yeah, a something of bikini. Is that bikini bottoms or bikinis?
Yeah, it's a bikini bottom. Fondo means end, but in this case, it's used as a bikini bottom. Fondo de bikini, I should say, not bikini, bikini. El pañuelo. It's got that ñ sound in the middle. That's a handkerchief. And la corbata. It's that thing that nobody wears anymore. It's a necktie. Yeah. Wouldn't expect you to have one of those. Bañador, or calzón de baño, swimming trunks. Traje de baño is a bathing costume. Bikini is perfect cognate, although if you want to buy one in Spain, do stress the b. It's the e sound. Bikini. You don't quite need to do it like that, but if you get the first e pronounced right, bikini, you'll do well. You probably just don't want to buy a bikini bottom unless you've forgotten to pack your bottoms but remembered your tops. But I don't know what the rules are about bikini tops in Spain these days. It seemed that nobody wore them for ages. Then everybody got worried about skin cancer, and everybody started wearing tops on the beach and shirts and everything. In Ecuador, you'd get arrested if you went topless on a beach. It would be completely unthinkable. Even though you're in the lovely warm Pacific, it would be absolutely unthinkable. So next is Caroline Ingram. Caroline, can you?
Okay, I'll try. El abrigo is coat. La capucha, is that hood?
It is. You've got those monks, haven't you? The Capuchin monks. They're the ones with hoods, aren't they?
All right.
I don't know a lot about monks. I just that seems to stick in that. Yeah.
Pajamas, obviously pajamas.
It's pijama.
Pijama. And la bate de baño, presumably a bathrobe. La camiseta, t-shirt.
Yeah, or a vest. Yeah.
Or a vest.
Could be
Okay.
either.
El chaleco. Oh, not sure about that one. Don't know. El chaleco.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
Cardigan is.
Oh, cardigan, yeah.
That's steady.
Cardigan, obviously. And las medias. Is that stockings?
Yeah.
And el sostén bra.
Bra, yeah, perfect. Yeah. So there we go. What one could you get? Chaleco. It's a waistcoat, so it's a bit like corbata. Who wears corbatas and chalecos anymore? Not only if we're going out to a posh do. Nobody goes out to a posh do anymore, do they? Not for the time being, anyway. So there we go. There's the next list. Who's on the next list? Karen. Karen, are you able to give us a rundown of these?
Shirt, blouse.
Yeah.
La blusa, blouse. Pantalones, trousers.
Perfect.
Jeans, calzones, not sure about the next three.
Okay. Calzones, bragas are that's they're items of underwear. Pants.
Right.
Yeah. La chompa. Chomper. What does chomper sound a bit like?
A jumper.
Yeah, it might be Latin
And-
American, that one.
And jersey's jumper and la chaqueta jacket.
So don't forget, the Spanish wouldn't say jersey, they say
Jersey.
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 And jeans, I hear them say jeans because I think it's an American word, obviously, and I think they hear it and pronounce it as the Americans would. But it tends to be vaqueros. Certainly in Ecuador, they don't talk about jeans; they talk about vaqueros, which vaquero is a cowboy. So they're cowboy trousers. So camisa is shirt. There's a saying in Spanish, tengo la camisa negra. It means I've got the black shirt. It means you're a bit fed up, a bit depressed. Need to remember that. Vaqueros for jeans or jeans. I think if you say jeans, you'd be perfectly well understood. The Spanish ought to say hands, shouldn't they really? But I've never heard that. Calzones, underpants, bragas, knickers, la chompa. Like I say, that may be South American. I'm not dead sure. Latin American. El jersey is a jumper. Wool is lana. So un jersey de lana would be a woolly jumper. La chaqueta is a jacket. Yeah, that sounds like what it should be, doesn't it? So the next list, who's next on the list? Oh, it's Carl. You're not getting away with it this week, Carl. Hiding down
I should have
there.
spoke to my. Okay, first one is suit.
Yeah, can you do the Spanish as well?
Oh, no, okay. The traje,
Traje, see?
suit. La falda, skirt. Las botas, boots. Los zapatos, shoes. Los zapatos deportivos, training shoes.
Yeah.
Or sports shoes.
Yeah.
Los zapatillas, pilas even. Are they like tennis shoes or something? Training shoes?
Slippers.
Slippers, okay,
Yeah.
slippers.
Yeah.
El cinturón, belt, and los calcetines. Don't know.
Yeah.
No sé.
No sé. Muy bien, muy bien. Just watch the pronunciation there. So it's not cinturón, it's cinturón. We've got
Okay,
that
yeah.
accent on there. That always shows you where the stress needs to go.
Okay.
And
Socks.
los calcetines are socks in Spanish. In Latin America, socks, medias, halves. I think the Spanish use those for stockings, but yeah, calcetines, socks. So las botas, boots, and botas de agua is boots of water, Wellington boots, in other words. Although there is another Spanish word. They say gum boots, and botas de. Can't remember the Spanish word for gum now, but you do hear that from time to time. Not that I've ever needed wellies in the Canaries or in Spain, but I'm sure they do have them. They certainly have them in Ecuador. But botas de agua is what they're called there. Zapatos deportivos is trainers, literally sports shoes. So you could use them for trainers or anything like that. Cinturón, a belt. calcetines, socks, las medias in Latin America, and the singular would be el calcetín or la media. If you've just got one sock, you've lost the other one, which the washing machine seems to do every week. So here's a few what they're called, materials that we ought to remember if we're going shopping in the market. I know you folk would be after some fine silk blouses, wouldn't you? So, you need to know what the Spanish for silk is. Lana is wool. I always remember that one. Algodón, cotton, and I can never remember that. Or seda, silk. Cuero is leather, and you get lots of markets selling leather goods in Spain in particular, don't you? Lana merino would be a fine type of wool, merino wool. Polyester is, as you might guess, polyester. You may see that on the label if you're buying something. Okay, so we had a look at a video. It was another one in the Spanish and Go series, the YouTube channel operated by Jim and Mai. I put them both up a fortnight ago. The first one was about grocery shopping, and they also had one on clothes shopping, and there was some really useful phrases in that, which it's worth just going through. See if you can memorize these. They would be useful. We're trying to concentrate this year's class on sort of practical Spanish, and going shopping and asking for clothes and different types of clothes is going to be useful. You know, we often decide we pack a suitcase and we've either packed clothes and it's too hot, or we've packed clothes and it's too cold and we need to buy a jumper or a jersey, or we need a camiseta. So you might find this useful. How do you learn them? I don't know how you learn them. You just learn them by using them a lot. Maybe try to create some little sentences. So you've got quite a good Spanish vocabulary being built up now. I think you all have, even though you won't admit it. I think your Spanish vocab's improving a lot. So you can put a little conversation together, and if you do that, it just helps it to stick a little bit more. So let's just have a look at these. Solo estoy viendo. I'm only looking, is what Mai said in the shop. You could use buscando instead of viendo. It doesn't matter. Ver is to see, and buscar is to search. So you're saying I'm only seeing, I'm only searching. Neither of them make a direct translation to what we say in English, which is I'm just looking. Solo estoy viendo, solo estoy buscando also works quite well. Try it on if you like. And this is a bit of a funny one. Probar is to try. Probarlo or probarla, depending if it's a masculine or a feminine noun, would be try it. But this one, probate, Pruébatela, si quieres. Pruébatela is 3 words stuck together. So prueba means you try. It's in the imperative mood. You try. Pruébata. My head's gone today. Prueba is you try it. I've been forgetting loads of things just lately. I've had a really funny fortnight. I think I maybe I had a touch of COVID off my son, and I've got a bit of long COVID or something like that. I'm definitely confused or forgetful. Either that or old age is really kicking in, one or the other. I just couldn't remember anything at all this week. And I was putting some felt on the summer house roof yesterday because it's been leaking a little bit, so I refelted the roof. And a number of times yesterday I walked from the garage back down to the summer house, and I'd forgotten what I was supposed to be getting. It made it a really long job. Anyway, prueba is you try it. Te is the pronoun you, and la is it if we're talking about clothes, because it's la ropa. So pruébatela, si quieres. Try it on if you like. I'd be hopeless. I'd never be able to say that. It's worth learning in case somebody says it to you. But what you're more likely to want to say is, can I try it on? And how would we say that, do you think? How would we say, can I try it on? What do you reckon, Giselle? How would you say, it's a really nice shirt, that blouse in your case, and you want to try, can I try it on? How would you say that?
Puedo me la? Or puedo
Puedo
me...
is good. So puedo is can.
Yeah. Puedo
I can.
probar.
Robar, yeah.
Probarme la blusa.
You could, yeah, you could. Puedo probarla would be. Can I try it? Can I try it? That would be fine. Yeah. You could say puedo probar la blusa if you wanted to say, can I try the blouse on you? That's perfect. Perfect. You can. You passed the shopping test. It doesn't matter whether you put the pronoun before the conjugated verb, or if you've got 2 verbs together after the second verb. So you could say me la puedo probar, or la puedo probar, or you could say me puedo probarla, or puedo probarla is perfectly good. The me there is, it sort of emphasizes it, you know, and you're trying it on yourself. So you're probably, yeah, me la puedo probar, or me puedo probarla. Where's the changing rooms will be the next question, or do you have them? Donde tiene probadores? Where do you have the changing rooms? Or I think that's what Mai said. Donde tiene probadores? I'd say donde están los probadores? That would be where are they, rather than where do you have? Where are they? But again, it's probably just a local national idiom. Donde tiene probadores? You might also hear a probador called vestidor, vestidores. No me gusta. I don't like it. That'd be. Would anybody ever say that in a shop in England? You know, would we ever say that? I don't like that. Maybe you would you? Sounds a bit rude. What do you think? Sounds a bit rude to me. So my wife never says I don't like it unless I've brought it home and show her, and it's out of the shop. If we were in a shop, she'd say, "Doesn't suit you, dear." So as I guess the Spanish equivalent would be "No me gusta como se me ve." I don't like how it looks on me. And you could back out of the store. Voy a seguir buscando. Gracias. I'm going to keep looking, which is perfectly good. It's always nice to be polite to the shopkeeper. Estoy buscando, of course. I'm just looking. Any questions on those? Everybody happy with that?
Thank you.
There's a lot of new little sentences and phrases there to pick up. So do try to keep to learn them by, you know, just putting them into a little conversation that you might have. If there's two of you, you could play. Carl and Giselle could play shopkeeper and customer. You should probably end up with "Get out of my shop." But if you can't, if you don't have a partner to bounce off, you can just make it into little sentences. And next week we're going to complete shopping by doing a few exercises, a little bit of role play, nothing too scary, but just trying to put these into some kind of context, because that's when you remember it best of all. If you're going to shop and you want to ask them if they sell something, pretty easy. It's simply vende. What could we have? Vendes sombreros would be one that I might use when I go on holiday. Do you sell hats? Vende gafas de sol. Do you sell sunglasses? You could ask that for any item. You just need to know what it is. Vende. Del que sea means whatever. And again, we don't tend to say whatever. We tend to say, I don't mind. It's a bit nicer than whatever, isn't it? Del que sea. I don't mind. You want to ask the price of something. ¿Qué precio tienen estos? Or estas, if it's a masculine or a feminine. Now, what price are these? You can certainly get away with ¿qué precio or ¿qué precio tienen? People would understand you perfectly well. Me voy a llevarlo, or me lo voy a llevar. I'll take it. I prefer to take it. It's good. And if it's more than one, me yo llevo estas or estes. I'm going to take these. Can I pay by card? Acepta tarjetas. Can I pay by card? The answer in Spain will certainly be yes, although Lord knows what's happening after Brexit. Be We're lucky if they let us in at all at the moment, aren't we, with COVID variations. But normally bank cards work perfectly well in European countries. In Latin American countries, if you're going to Mexico, if you're in a tourist resort, I'm sure you'll be fine. But if you're out and about around the country, it is quite hard to get your bank card to work. I always had great difficulty unless I was in a tourist hotspot. So you end up carrying cash, which I've got used to not carrying cash, especially at the moment with COVID. Nobody seems to want cash. Just waving my card about, contactless. Aquí tienes, or aquí tiene, here you go, is something you'll hear. Así está bien, that's fine. Like that, the direct translation is like that, it's good. Así está bien, that's fine. Mai included this one here, didn't she? Gustas redondear. Shall I round it up? It does sound a bit weird. I don't think you'll hear it in Spain. Anybody heard that in Spain? Jane, you never heard that? No, I haven't either. Mai is Mexican, and obviously the Mexican peso, isn't it? Does come in. It's a bit like some currency used to be in Europe before the euro arrived. The Mexican peso seems to have lots and lots of them against the dollar and the pound, so you can end up with a handful of coins that are worth next to nothing. So if you don't want to end up with a load of worthless coins, you could say C if they ask you about rounding it up. The same applies with bills, dollar bills, or any currency. Again, not really a problem in Spain. You're probably going to pay by card anyway in Spain. But if you are traveling in Mexico or South America, things cost so much less. And even in Ecuador, where they use American dollars as their currency, if you go to you get some currency in the UK, they'll probably give you quite big denominations, maybe $50 bills. If you presented somebody with a $50 bill in Ecuador, they'd probably never seen one before, and they, certainly outside the capital city, and they might think it was counterfeit. So it's a good idea to carry plenty of smaller denominations, 5s and 10s. And if you go into, if you're asking for currency over here, I always go to Sainsbury's. I don't know where you get your foreign currency from. I always ask for, lots of small denomination bills. They don't seem to mind about that, but they may ask you, ¿Tienes un billete más chico? Chico, I think, is a Mexican word for small. Más pequeño is probably what they'd say elsewhere. Do you have anything smaller? If a shop doesn't have something, no manejo, whatever it is, I don't carry, whatever it is. In this case, ropa de niños. You can normally see, can't you? It would be obvious probably from what's in the shop, what they've got. Me lo puedes repetir? Excuse me. Can you repeat that? You could also say, ¿Qué dijiste? What did you say? or no le entendí. I didn't understand you. That's good. So let's have a look at these. To say you like something. So the phrase gusta. Gustar is to please, or to like, and the Spanish have this strange way of saying that you like something by saying, in the example I put here, me gusta la falda. What they're saying is, it pleases me, the skirt. In other words, I like the skirt. It sounds very odd when we first hear it, and inevitably, when we first hear it, we translate it in our heads into English, and you think, it pleases me, the skirt. It's, but just once you've learned it, once you've heard it, and you will hear it a lot. Me gusta, you hear that phrase a lot. It just drops into your head. You know what it means. You don't need to translate it. So, I like the skirt. Me gusta la falda. We're going to do a whole session on me gusta. So we'll look at it in considerable detail. So that's how you'd say, I like the skirt. How would you say, I like this skirt? I like that skirt. These skirts, those skirts. How would you say that? Jane, you're next on my list. How would you go about this? I like this skirt.
Me gusta esta falda.
Muy bien. That shirt?
Me gusta esa falda.
See? These?
Me gustan estas faldas.
Muy bien.
And me gustan esas faldas.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, perfect. You'll note there that when there's more than one thing that pleases you, in other words, these skirts, you have to say, they please me, these skirts, rather than it pleases me, this skirt. So when you want to say something pleases you, you just have to think, is there more than one thing that pleases me, or is it just the one thing that pleases me? If it's just the one thing, me gusta, whatever it is. And if there's more than one thing, me gustan, they please me. So that's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. So well done there. No, if you don't like something, no me gusta. No me gusta la bufanda. I don't like the scarf. No me gusta esta bufanda. I don't like this scarf. You might want to say, I don't like the scarf. Do you have it in blue? No me gusta la bufanda. La tiene en azul. Do you have it in blue? How about some other colours? Lorraine, you're next to my little ascending chart. How would you say, I don't like this scarf? Do you have it in red?
No me gusta esta bufanda. La tiene en roja.
Muy bien. And of course it's roja, not rojo, because it's a feminine noun, and that has to agree with with the gender of the noun. Whenever something like a colour, any adjective, ends in an o or an a, it has to change to agree with the gender of the noun it's describing. So azul is fine because blue's blue, but red could be roja or rojo, and what of course have we got? Verde is green. That's perfectly fine. Amarillo is yellow, so that does change. Negro is black. So that would change as well. Have you got any others? Tiene otros, and I'm talking all the time in the formal, because I just kind of think when you go into a shop, you ought to use the formal address. It's just a bit more polite. So, that's good. Okay, move on to sizes. So size, talla, tamaño is another word for size, and it's useful if you know your sizes in centimeters rather than inches. So just like I've had to learn my weight in kilograms because we've got these fancy vacuum scales now that default to kilograms, and my wife always weighs herself in kilograms, and so I have to weigh myself in kilograms now. But I've discovered that if I weigh myself in kilograms, pick the scales up, press a little button on the bottom nice and quick, I can still get it in pounds, and then I can work out how many stones, pounds I am. Then I get all disappointed because I'm not sticking to my New Year resolution. So useful if you're going abroad to know what your weight is in kilograms, especially for skiing. You get yourself fitted out for your skis. You need to know your height in centimeters and your weight in kilograms. Otherwise, the French give you a very dirty look. ¿Qué talla es usted? What size are you? Soy, you'd use ser because it's an inherent characteristic. Sizes can go up or down, so you might say it should be a star because it's not a permanent thing. But even though it's not a permanent thing, sizes can go down or can go up. It's an inherent characteristic of yours. You might be asked, ¿Qué tamaño está buscando? What size are you looking for? What size do you need? ¿De qué tamaño necesita? I need a size 16 UK. You don't know the Spanish, how Spanish sizes work. Necesito una talla 16 Nido. ¿Qué es eso en España? What's that in Spain? Ask for help. So that's fine. So we've, on the previous page, we've used two words for size, talla and tamaño. Both mean size. To a certain extent, they're interchangeable, but you'll see tamaño used for general sizes, particularly things like large, small, where it's there's a bit of leeway, and talla for a specific size, especially where there's a value attached. So a shoe size or a dress size, chest or waist. And for shoes, they don't use talla, they use numero, which just adds some confusion. We could well do without, if you ask me, but there we are. I did put on the lesson notes a link to a website. I've not checked that it's still. I normally check that these are available before I replace them, but I didn't do that this week. So I hope that link still works. It was to a Spanish blog, so I imagine it's still there. But that gives you a good guide to how Spanish clothing sizes work. And the advice was that for women's clothing, you should add 28 to the UK size to generate the Spanish size. So a UK size 12 becomes a Spanish size 40. That would be dreadful news to somebody who's very proud of being a size 12. Small, medium or large, or extra large. Una talla pequeña. In Latin American, it could be chica rather than pequeña. Una talla mediana. So you could say, quiero una camiseta de talla mediana. I need a medium blouse. Una talla grande. Get more into my realm now. Una camisa de tamaño grande, por favor. And you notice how clothes sizes don't necessarily reflect the gender that you think they should. A suit, a dress is dress is el vestido, vestido, and it's you'd think the dress would be feminine, but it doesn't always work with clothes. There's a few confusing ones. Extra grande, extra grand is obviously extra large. For waists, for necks, for inside legs, you will need to know your size in centimeters, and for shoes, you'll need to know your euro sizes, which if you get stuck, you can generally take your shoes off and have a look, because hopefully they tend to stick both in English, UK and European sizes in the shoes. But really, whatever it is, it's best to try it on. Puedo probarme esto is can I try it on? Because you've got two verbs together, poder and probar, you conjugate the first one. Puedo is I can, probar to try, and you want to make it reflexive, so we're saying can I try it on? Puedo probarme esto. You could also say, of course, me puedo probar esto. Can I try it? It means exactly the same. It doesn't matter at all. Whatever you find easier to remember and easier to say. They're very good. And if you want to say, can I try? Can I try it rather than can I try this? probably get away with puedo probarme esto using esto as the gender neutral pronoun. You probably get away with that in most cases, even if it's obvious what it is. It should really be este. But if you're saying, can I try it on, and you should really have la or la. So don't forget the masculine, feminine. And if it's a pair of socks, anybody tries socks on, pair of shoes, you should use los zapatos. So how would we say, can I try that on, or can I try those on? We have to remember that if it's masculine, este, this, estos, these, esse, that, esos, those. We've also got esta, estas, this and these, in feminine, esa, esas, in plural. And then we've got a gender neutral one as well. Esto, estos, eso, esos. I don't know about you. I still, after learning Spanish for 5 years or so, still find I have to stop and think about these. It's fine when I've used the phrase quite frequently, and I know exactly what I'm talking about. But when I haven't used it for a while, or when I'm talking about something new, I do have to sort of start thinking, what's the gender of the noun? What's the right pronoun should I be using? So there's inevitably a sort of time in the sentence where I'm stopping to think. In Spanish, instead of saying you can say pues or bueno, just to give yourself some thinking time while you're working it out. And I sometimes get a bit discouraged when I can't remember the gender of a noun. I'm thinking, oh, I should know that. Lord, what on earth is it? But I was talking to my son yesterday. He was helping me with the summer house roof, handing things up to me. And he was talking about having, he's going to have some online Spanish lessons because he's struggling with the subjunctive, and he needs to get some practice using the subjunctive in Spanish, which is not something we need to worry about too much. We have covered it very, very quickly, but we don't need to worry about it. But he's struggling with that, wants more practice. And he's also says to me that he'd just like to speak Spanish more often, because just struggles with things like the gender of nouns. And I was thinking, well, God, you speak so much better Spanish than I do. And it's somehow, it's disheartening, but slightly comforting to find out that you can't remember the gender either. Where are the changing rooms? In Spanish and Go, she said, "En donde tiene probadores?" "Donde está el probador?" is what I'd say, or los probadores, the changing rooms. Or the changing room might just be one. In Spain, they tend to be unisex, whereas in England, it's a bit better organised. If you go to if you go to Marks and Spencer's, they just have one changing room, don't they? Just have somebody at the front who's making sure you've not got more than 3 items, and hangs them up properly for you afterwards. So that's quite well organised. So ¿dónde está el probador? Where's the changing room? If you feel like doing a bit of bargaining, sometimes prices aren't fixed. Sometimes there's a bit of haggle room. You might want to say, it's muy caro. It's a little expensive, very expensive. Or just tell them it's too expensive. It's demasiado caro. It's too expensive.
I don't remember that word.
I can't afford that. Ian's our accountant. I just heard him say. Did you say, Ian? I'll remember that word, or
No, I can never remember decide.
you can never remember it. Demasiado caro. It's too expensive. I can't afford that. No, puedo pagar esto. Some people love to haggle. Some people hate haggling. So if you don't like haggling, then don't worry about these. Just pay through the nose. That's absolutely fine. If you do enjoy a bit of a haggle, then by all means go for it. Let me just check the time. How are we doing? Oh, we might just have time for these. Let's do these last few pages really quickly. Le queda bien suits you, or le conviene means it suits you. It's a good deal. Convenir is to agree, so it could be a deal or it's a good look on you. Lo comprare, I'll buy it. You could say voy a comprar. Means exactly the same thing. I'm going to buy it. Voy a comprar. I'm going to buy it. Okay, I'll buy it. Vale. Lo o la compro. De acuerdo. La compro. I'll buy it. Okay, I'll buy it. And a few more nouns for you here. Just a few things that you might see in the gift shop rather than in the clothes shop. Pulsera is a bracelet. Anillo, a ring. Collar, a necklace. Earrings, aretes, pendientes. I don't know why there's two words for earrings. It was suggested that pendientes might be the ones that hang down a bit. Plato is a dish. A vase is florero or jarrón. Jarrón is more of a jar or practical one, perhaps. In the DIY store, if you're over there sorting your villa out and you've not got some nails, you might need to go to the bricolaje or ferreteria. Here's some useful things. A hammer is a martillo, similar to the French, isn't it, I think. Clavos are nails, screws, tornillos. Destornillador is a screwdriver. Bombilla is a light bulb. Adhesivo is adhesive. La madera is wood. So you come across bosque as well, which means a wood where you might take the dog for a walk. La madera is something you buy from the DIY shop. And in the garage, a tire is a pneumatico. Petrol, gasolina, diesel, oil, aceite is the more commonly used one, and a battery, bateria. That's what you'd need to find there. So, any questions on today's shopping trip? Have we got everything we needed? Have we seen anything that takes our fancy? Any questions? No. So next week next week we'll chug along. We'll do a little bit more on shopping, and we'll try a few exercises, putting these words into practical use. So let's do that. I'll send some notes around beforehand. Well done, everybody.
Cheers, Eric.
Particularly those that
Thank you.
answered the questions, and we'll see you all next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Bye.
Gracias, Eric.
Eric, I won't be here next week. It's the funeral next week, so I won't be here next week. But I'll see you
Okay,
the week
Caroline.
after.
Yeah, this is your friend. You was it a friend in March? Or
Yeah. It's my uncle.
Your
Yeah.
uncle. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm sorry to hear about that.
But I'll be thinking of you doing your exercises.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Ciao, everybody.
Ciao.
Ciao,
Thank you.
Thomas.
Bye.
Bye.